Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Open Dialogue, the number one podcast based out of Utah Valley, a podcast dedicated to exploring religion, relationships, reflections on the world, and everything in between. Most importantly, promoting a no filter, safe, open discussion where every voice matters. I'm your host, Samson, and thank you for listening, watching, and spending some time with me today. Allow me to introduce the guest joining me today. So, the guest joining me is an entrepreneur credited with starting Trend Watchers, helping content creators go viral. He has been a TEDx speaker and has a book called Bootstrapped. Having been featured on Entrepreneur, AOL News, and ABC News, he has reached over 100 million people across his social media accounts. Ladies and gentlemen, joining the show, speaker, author, and entrepreneur, Dejon Brooks.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, welcome, man. Appreciate you for being here. Thank you for being here. It's crazy. I feel like you have a crazy schedule. You have a lot of things going on.
Oh yeah.
But introduce yourself for those who don't know. I mean, who you are. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like as you were saying that intro, I was like, whoa, like he's talking about me. And for me, like I've always like tried different things growing up,
Mhm.
and it's crazy seeing everything accumulate. But as far as like my background, it's really just been like it originally started with YouTube. I
Okay.
was a full-time YouTuber for a bit and then
Oh
channel got
wow.
demonetized and then that began my whole entrepreneur journey. But yeah, I'm 23 years old. I currently live in Provo, Utah. Um, shoot, what else? I like to run. I'm like really like as far as like my skill set, I'm really good at marketing, like viral marketing, writing, email marketing, all that right there. And play the piano, the organ.
Oh,
Shoot, I'm trying to think what else.
is there
So many
something you don't
things.
do? It's crazy.
Basketball. I'm a black man that can't hoop.
Hey, oh no.
That's the one thing.
Hey man, anyone can hoop. Anyone anyone can hoop. Okay, awesome. That's sweet. And you're originally from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep, that's
Can I
where I'm at.
ask real quick? Because so I was actually in Atlanta this last week for marketing association with BYU,
Mm,
and we just went to visit Delta headquarters, Chick-fil-A, all those places. I love Atlanta. Can you like?
yes.
I mean, having been born there and from there, like, what's the main difference? Like, you're in Utah now, and from there, like, what's the difference?
Great question. So, first of all, just hit the elephant out the room, just like the diversity,
Mm, yeah,
Like Atlanta, I think it's like 55% African American, and then you got like your Latinos and then like everybody else. And just when you go into the city, shoot, the airport, like you're like, wow, like there's um people from everywhere, you feel
yeah,
like you're in a foreign country. Then when you come here, it's kinda like I think is it like 1 or 3% like, Black
yeah.
population and yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
went from the majority to the minority, so that's the first thing.
Mhm.
Um, I consider Atlanta like a big city, so adjusting to, just like it could be a Monday or a Tuesday night, I can go in the city, and there's always something to do.
Mm,
Here in, like, Provo, even Salt Lake City, you gotta really look, you gotta know
yeah,
people to really find some quality things to do, so that and then the last thing is probably just I feel like in Atlanta, it's like a big city, especially, like, downtown Atlanta, like
yeah.
Midtown, we were talking about that
Mhm,
before
mhm.
the camera started rolling, and, like, everyone has their own personal brand, their own, like, style, and they're really, cool and unique. The people here are unique too in Utah, but it's just, um, people, they're just doing their own grind. You don't come across the same person twice. That's
Mhm.
kinda what I felt like from Atlanta, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and dive right in. So I did my research. I
Yeah.
made sure to do my research. And quite honestly, you're the most, I guess, most followed person I know, the most popular person that I've brought on, I guess, to the
Yeah.
podcast. And I had to do my research. And you started a company. It said you started this company when you were 19.
Mhm.
And so I'm guessing 2020. You
Yeah.
started this company called Trend Watchers. So what is it? Like what is this company, Trend Watchers? What is it doing?
Great question. So, like I said, I was a YouTuber back in high school, like
Yeah.
around like freshman, sophomore year.
Mhm.
And the way to go viral was just by like trends. I would like just find out like what was like popping off for that month or that week, and then I'll go make some videos about it, and then boom, I'd get like 100,000, half a million, maybe like a couple million views on these videos.
Yeah.
And so after my YouTube channel got demonetized, I, was trying out different ventures. I made, like, Shopify stores, did, like, high ticket drop shipping, low ticket drop shipping. I tried real estate wholesaling, made my own social media marketing agency, did, like, a year internship at, like, an ad agency, just trying out a bunch of different things, and then when I graduated high school, just a little, like, fast forward 2 years, I wanted to make my, I guess, like, a legit business,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Those are all legit business, but I was, like, bouncing around, like, new
Absolutely, yeah.
thing every 3 months or so, but, like, I wanted to focus on one thing, and I was trying to figure out what that one thing would be, and I was looking at my YouTube data one day, and I was like, "Shoot," like, all the content that, like, got, like, over 1,000,000 views, it was around some sort of trend. What if I made a platform that notified creators about trends? So, that's where that idea
Wow.
came from, so
That's
yeah, I
actually
started
super
it in
sick.
my parents' basement.
Wow. That is so in a sense, would you say that that's kind of what social media is today then, just all trends? Like, because I feel like before it used to be, like, effort and
Mm,
quality, like, translated over to views and, like, getting known and getting popular.
yeah.
Is it now just a world of trends? Like, you just have to it doesn't matter the quality or anything.
So, it depends on your goals. So, if you're trying to make money, you don't need a million, like, views to,
Really?
make a
Yeah.
living. You can make a living with just, shoot, even, like, 1,000 subscribers, if you're funnel your
Wow.
traffic
Yeah.
effectively. So, I'd say it depends on what your end goal is, but let's
Mm.
say you wanna be the next hottest thing out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you need some trends. Yeah, you gotta play the game sometimes. So, yeah,
Okay.
part of the game is just using trends, and then, I got this thing called, so great question about quality,
Mhm.
because I got this thing called video series. I don't know, like, ugh, I don't know how I'm gonna explain it, like, just, like, on this podcast, because
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a teacher as far as, like, I use visuals,
That's fair,
but,
that's fair.
long story short, like, making super high okay, first of all, content creation, it's a numbers game.
Mm,
If you post about, let's say 10 videos on YouTube, one of them will pop off. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna get 1,000,000 views. Let's say your average views, it's like 100 views per video. Popping off or going viral, I consider it 10x the average. So like
okay.
1,000,
Yeah,
1,000 views, and then you just want to keep on doing that till you scale your way up to like 1,000,000 views on the videos. But shoot, I'm kind of going off of a tangent. But long story short, social media is a numbers game,
yeah,
and when you try to focus on quality, it's really easy to burn yourself out, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Because like, if you're making, like putting all this time, effort, and money into a video, and, you're not seeing anything come from it, and you're posting, like, 1 video a month, maybe
Mhm.
2 videos a month, it's kinda hard, seeing those results, so there's, like, a mixture between, like, leveraging systems that allows you to, like, create content in mass and also quality while also, like, adding trends. By mixing those 3, um, things in the equation, that's how you pop off on social media,
Interesting.
if your end goal was to, be the next hot thing out
Next
there, so
topic.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I've always because I mean, I watch, like, things like TikTok and these, like, YouTube
Yeah.
shorts and stuff. I'm looking at them and I'm like, "How does this have 5,000,000 views?" Like,
Mhm,
that doesn't like, it doesn't make sense. So, I guess that makes a lot of sense, in all honesty. And so, now that you have this company, I guess that's kinda kickstarting your entrepreneurship. I mean, you
mhm,
started earlier than that. What would you say is a lesson then that you've learned? Like, I mean, you have a company that's functional right now, but you've done
mm.
so many things before. What's changed? What's different?
I'll answer the first question, I'll get to the second
Yeah, yeah,
question in a
yeah, yeah.
second. As far as, like, the thing I learned is that, like, no matter what you put your mind to, no matter how delusional it is,
Mhm.
it can be achieved. I first was able to get over that paradigm shift, yeah, I put work into it, but I'd say, like, half of it was also luck as well,
Mhm.
which was me initially popping off on YouTube, getting, like, checking my YouTube Studio app, seeing a 250,000 views in one day, that when I first popped
Wow.
off. And just by having that delusional goal of like, "Oh, I wanna become, like, a famous YouTuber," and then, like, actually making it turn into reality, that helped me, trying to overcome that mindset shift that, like, anything literally anything is possible. So when I
Mm.
started Trend Watchers, um, it's a software like code and everything,
Yeah.
it now runs on AI, and
Oh, wow.
like I just told you, I'm a marketer.
Yeah.
I do not code. I don't know how to code. I can read it, but, like, I do not know how to code, and, um, I just had to get really creative as far as, like, going out there, hiring a software developer on a super limited budget of, like, $5,000.
Yeah.
That's all I had in my savings, and, just, like, getting really creative to, like, getting, the actual product up, which was half of the battle, and then the next battle was just, like, marketing it with, like,
Mm.
pretty much no budget, figuring out ways, to like, tell my story, so, as far as, like, what I've learned, just that, like, anything you put your mind to with work, it can turn into reality, so that's the biggest one, the only thing holding you back is your mindset,
Mm.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that. I enjoy that a lot. I think that is kind of similar of what I've tried to adopt as well, of
Mm,
just doing so many things because I feel like it's easy to constrain yourself to one thing. It's easy to constrain yourself to, oh, I'm only good at this, so I can
mm,
only do this.
yeah,
And I think the only way you can become good at something is if you do multiple things. And by telling, like you said, that mindset of telling yourself, oh, I don't think that's achievable, then
mhm.
you've already lost the battle, right?
That's
Like
right, yep.
exactly. So I think I love that that you said. And you said something about um writing your own story or like
Mhm.
telling your own story. You did that. You wrote a book. I mean, you
Yeah.
wrote a book and you published it. So like tell us about like what was that like becoming an author or writing your own book?
So at the beginning of 2020, right when I decided to like focusing on trend watchers, I deleted my Instagram. It wasn't anything crazy. I think maybe like a couple hundred followers, like
Okay.
friends from high school.
Yeah.
And as I was building this company in my parents' basement, I would document my journey as far as like a different concept I learned like every single week.
Mm.
And I've kind of been doing that for the past let's just say 2.5 years, and one day I was bored and I was like, "Hey, let me take all, like" oh, yeah, I'm not sure if you've seen my Instagram captions, but, like, they're maxed out
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
way.
Oh, 100. It's like a little mini story
Oh,
every
yeah.
I love it.
They are maxed out, and, one day I was bored, so I just went and just, like, took all of those, entries and put them on a Google document. I think it was enough to fill up half of a 200-page book, I think
Wow.
it was maybe 20,000, 25,000 words. Yeah, I think words, and I was like, "Oh," like, "that's pretty much, like, halfway to, like, writing a book. I might as well just, like let me finish writing another half of it." So, that's
Yeah.
how I wrote a book by accident.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's sick. Hey, lesson learned. If you're bored, write a book. Like
that's right.
actually, like literally, please. That's so sick. And I was actually reading some of it. I ordered it. It's on the way. But
Yeah.
I was reading some of it, and like one of the very first things, like one of the very first chapters, I guess, that was in it that I saw was something about self-improvement. Like it was
Mhm.
something about like the mindset behind self-improvement. Can you expand on that? Like what does that look like? Like someone's like, I want to improve myself. Where do they start?
Great question. So, I'm a systematic thinker, so 2 plus 2 is 4. We can agree on that, right?
That's 100%. Yes, please.
So, if you wanna get an outcome of 10, if you keep putting the inputs of, like, 2 plus 2, you're
Mhm.
not gonna get 10, you're gonna just keep on getting 4. Now,
Interesting.
2 could be, let's say, your education, and then the other 2, that could be, like, the action you're taking,
Okay.
or, like, you can make whatever variable. But, if you wanna get 10, there's different ways you can get the 10. You can do 9 plus 1, 5 times 2. What else? 3 times 4 minus
Mhm.
2,
Yeah.
get complicated.
Yeah.
Long story short, to change that output, you gotta change the input.
Okay.
And the person you are, like, right now, this moment, is only capable of, like, having the amount of money that's in your bank account right now, or the car you're driving, or, the relationships you currently have, like, current version, like the person you are, like, right now, this moment, is only capable of reaching that, and it's not capable of reaching your, whatever your dreams are, and it could be in any category.
Yeah.
So if you want to improve your date in life, or have more friends, or have more money in your bank account, or whatever, you need to change something about yourself. It
Mm.
could be like your appearance, maybe like the music you're listening to. Like you gotta change like some variables and test out different things to kind of see like what helps you get close to that outcome of like 10 or
Yeah.
20 or
Yeah.
50 or whatever. So I like taking it from that approach. And then more of like my process, so I do weekly reviews on
Okay.
Sundays. So obviously I have like my monthly and my yearly, quarterly goals set. I'll do like a little like weekly recap on Sunday, and I ask myself, okay, like what are my wins for this past week? What did I learn? What could I have done better? And then my favorite question is, what can I do differently this upcoming week? I.e., like, how can I change my input a little bit to change up my results?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing I do to where I'm able to improve slowly every day slash every week.
Yeah.
And then like when years go by, I look back, I'm like I'm on top of the mountain. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's my secret to
Yeah.
self improvement.
Wow. Okay. I was like along those lines, I've always wondered because I feel like you always hear the phrase like everyone like little things at a time, like
Hmm.
one thing at a time. And so it's like, oh, sometimes you look and you're like, I can't change that. Like there's some people that think, oh, there's certain inputs in their life, like
Mm,
personality type or likes and dislikes. They're like, I can't change that. And I've always wondered with this like logic that you've just brought to the table, great new fresh perspective. I enjoy the fact that it's not the fact of like take away everything. So like you just using your example of 2 plus 2 is 4.
hmm.
It doesn't mean start from scratch and take out the 2 and 2.
Yeah.
It means 2 plus 2 is 4 plus what? Like what else are you going to change? Like, oh,
Hmm.
plus 6. Oh, now you've got 10. And so I enjoy that a lot. And I've come to the extent where I feel like it's not the amount or the scale of what you change, but it's that you change something.
Mm-hmm.
And so in like in your life, being so young and having so many things going on at once, how do you how do you minimize the stress? Because changing sucks. So like how are you minimizing that?
That's a really good question. So, if you look closely at all my Instagram posts and even the book as well, it's not all business, business, business. There's
Yeah,
some chapters in there too. I'm talking about like dating, even some chapters on like faith. Let's say I learned something
yeah,
in church or whatever.
absolutely.
Um, so as far as like I guess like how I'm able to just like I guess like get rid of that stress. Um hopefully I'm answering the question
Oh, absolutely. No,
correctly.
please.
Lost my little train of thought right there. But pretty much what I do to really I guess like balance out life, like I do like work during the day, but after that, like I go and I like socialize in the evening. Um I'll go on a couple of dates each week. I like to just spend quality time by myself, just like journaling, maybe just going
Yeah,
out like by myself,
yeah,
like walking in the park or whatever, exercising. And as I've been going throughout my journey, especially when growing trend watchers, like obviously at the beginning, I had that grind period. It was called grind mode
yeah.
for 6 months.
Wow.
In the basement, told my friends like, hey, like it's not you, it's me. No, like actually, like
It's not usually
I just gotta put my head down and
yeah,
grind for it. But I couldn't be in that permanent lifestyle forever. I knew I had
mhm,
to go out there, I had to like um, eventually get outside and socialize and do other things for my mental health. And also, okay, cool, let's say I make it. If I got no friends, if I got no family to enjoy it with, I mean, what's the point?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so I was able to learn that just slowly as I've been going through my journey, and also just like socializing in the evenings, going on dates, just like doing stuff outside of work. It made the process more enjoyable and helped me to just like um yeah, just really enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Hopefully I answered your
No,
question correctly.
absolutely. I think you did, and I from what I'm getting from that, um, everything has its time. So like you
Mhm,
said, like if it's 8 to 6 or 8 to 5 that I'm grinding work, then
mm,
I'm grinding work, nothing else. But when 6 hits or when 5 o'clock hits, It's time for me to socialize. It's time for me to do something else. So
Mhm.
I enjoy that mindset, and I think it's a very healthy mindset to have because
Oh, yeah.
if you're a workaholic, you just want to work and keep working, and there's
Mhm.
never enough.
Don't wanna sleep and everything.
Sleep doesn't matter, nothing. I'm
Yeah.
just, and I get that. And so you mentioned something. I just want to quickly touch on this with your religion.
Mhm.
Are you part of the LDS faith?
Yep.
And so, how have you seen that impact everything? Like, what is the reach that it's impacted in your life?
So I've been a member my entire life. My parents were converts. My dad, he,
Yeah.
grew up in the hood, found the Bible in the trash can.
Sick.
Took it back to his room and started, like, reading it, said a prayer for himself for the first
Wow.
time, and then missionaries came knocked on his door, and then he got baptized, and then, went on a mission, met my mom in South Africa, so,
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's that's
That's
that's
awesome.
that's how that happened right there. But, as far as, like, the impact of having, like, religion throughout my entire process, it's funny, people ask me that, and I'm like, "Dang, like, you see all the stuff I have? Like,
Yeah.
that's happened because of the man upstairs, you
Yeah,
know?" So,
absolutely.
he really helped me during those really, like, hard times
Mhm.
whenever, I was just, like, down bad. Yeah. And, also just by using my talents and, like, serving other people. Okay, let's
Mhm.
say my life, it's like a dumpster fire by serving other people. I've been able to, like, just see that, like, "Oh, wow, like, you're going through something worse." And it kinda helps me get that perspective and, just so many things. I could have, like, my own little like, I can go on for, like, 30 minutes as far as, like, the impact of having, um, religion for my entrepreneurship journey, and it's also helped as far as, like, relationships in other areas and also, like, mental health, but, yeah, that's how it's helped me out throughout, like, entrepreneurship journey and just staying sane and, um, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy that actually. I think that for me personally also so I'm from Nigeria and my parents were converted to the church there as well
Mm,
before we got here. And it's just like you have to look around. Sometimes we get so focused in looking down at what we're trying to do in the present moment that we
mhm,
never like look back and realize, oh my, like this is all I have right now.
mhm,
It's so much more to come, but this is all I have. And I love that you attributed it to God because he truly is great. I
mhm.
think he is great. And um you are 23 years old with a company, a book, followers all over. You've made over 100 million impressions worldwide. Like, what defines success to you? Like, because we live in a so I think we live in a community, and I'll rephrase the question later, but we live in a society where
Mm,
at our age, it's so competitive. I mean,
mhm.
college is competitive, work is competitive, dating is
You
competitive.
got that
Like,
right.
literally, like, what to you then is success in such a society?
Great question. So, I got a motto that I live by. The key to a long life is 2 things: contrast and knowing when it's time to go. Um, if you really sit and think on that, especially the listeners, if you just pause the video wherever you're listening wherever you're listening to this podcast at, if you think about that, like, that's someone once told me, like, so on the contrast point, um let's just use hot and cold, you know? No, actually, let's use, being single and in a relationship.
Here we
Let's
go. Listen up, people. Listen up.
we gotta bring up dating somehow, so
Come on now. Come on now.
so as far as, like, being single, let's say, for example's purposes, you're, 20 years old, you went your whole life single, and, um, yeah, it's cool, being by yourself and everything, but you want someone to, like, cuddle, talk, like, do things with and
Brother,
everything,
you
you
are
know?
speaking facts right now. You are preaching.
But, let's say you get into a relationship, and let's say it was a toxic relationship, and you experienced the good part of relationships, but also the ugly side of it. Maybe you got cheated on, maybe, like, you got lied to, stolen to, like, whatever scenario, you know? Um, by having that contrast between, like, being in a relationship and being single and um having that knowledge, I was told that, like, happiness is, so, you have, like, those 2 experiences, one's up here, one is down here.
Yep.
the bigger that gap is, like that, like it's like the inside of it is the measure of the happiness, if that makes
Okay, yeah.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that gap, so you've got your positive experience, your negative experience, and then in between that is your measure of happiness, you'd say, right?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah, I heard someone say that before. I was like, "Huh, that's interesting." Despite having that contrast, the wider the contrast is, the more you appreciate. Um, let's say you appreciate like you have both of those experiences, and you appreciate more being single. You're able to come to that knowledge by having the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
That's relationships, for example. We can also say maybe like rich and poor, um, having a car, having no car,
Yeah.
having food to eat, having no food, having that experience, and just being on both sides of the spectrum. Um, I feel like that is what happiness is, having like a lot of those experiences across multiple areas and being able to share those experiences with other people. So let's say right now I'm sharing a few of my
Yeah.
experiences, both highs and lows from
That's
different
cool.
spectrums, and being able to relate on that, laugh, like feeling these different types of emotions,
Yeah.
that's happiness. I think
Okay.
that's the best way to like um experience life and enjoy the moment. So yeah, that's my little technical
Okay.
breakdown.
No, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Could I then go on a limb and say that is happiness the same thing as success, or vice versa? Is being successful being happy? Like what was your thoughts on that be?
Success is just, I would say it's a destination. When
Okay.
you hike a mountain,
Yeah.
I remember I hiked Temp for the first time like a year and a half ago.
Not a fun hike. Oh man.
Oh, I enjoyed. I went
Really?
like a 10-mile run
Oh my.
after it too. Yeah, I was
Like, no, crazy. Crazy for that.
and I remember getting like that mountain was huge, just
Mhm.
like going up like all the trails and everything leading up to the summit. But once you got up top, there's really nothing up there. It's like really empty,
Yeah.
Like yeah, the view is nice, but it like in certain spots you couldn't have like a bunch of people there, only like two or three people at a
Yeah.
time, and yeah, so the first point as far as like success, there's not too many people up there. It's kind of lonely, and it's just a destination. And once you achieve I remember. Okay, so going back to the YouTube days, I remember when I first set a goal, like I want to get like 10,000 views a month, to have like 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
That made me happy. And then like a month later, I'm getting like 3 million views a month.
Yeah.
Getting like 10,000 subscribers. I think like every month, every week. I forgot like when the
Yeah.
frequency was. It was kind of like up and down with that. But I remember seeing my dashboard filled with all these numbers, great numbers too,
Yeah.
and I just wasn't happy. I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
That's fair.
Yeah,
I'd be happy if y'all want to pass me some subscribers.
yeah. Success is just a destination. It's just like once you achieve, you're like, okay, cool. Now what? You realize there's really nothing up there.
Mm,
But happiness, I feel like it's the people you help out along the way. So with my software trend watchers, as I was building that and especially taking on clients, helping them build up their social media following, specifically on YouTube. It was really cool. Just like I'll give you one um case study example. She does like plastic surgery, just kind of like the beauty niche, and
okay.
she came to me with 5,000 subscribers and kind of gave her my framework, the framework I was telling you at the beginning of this episode. And yeah, long story short, she's at like 500,000
Oh
subscribers,
wow.
and um she sent me a screenshot of like her earnings on YouTube. I think it was like $7 or $8 per thousand views, and she was
Yeah.
getting like I think like 2, 3 million views
Wow.
a month. So that's like 20, $30,000 a month,
Yeah. That's incredible.
from the advice that came out of my mouth,
Yeah.
and being able to like change someone's life from just the advice that came out of my mouth. I was like, whoa,
That's
that's
incredible.
really cool. Like,
Yeah.
who else can I do that for?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that brought me happiness, being able to
Wow.
like put smiles on people's faces and just like impacting people like that. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. I love
yeah,
that. And there's one thing we haven't hit yet, and we got to hit it. It's dating in Utah, man.
yeah.
So like, what are you? I guess this is a two-part question. I'd love to just like if you want like an overview, like what is something you've learned from dating? Because you're still single, correct? That you're still
Mhm.
single, like what have you learned from this like dating world at our age?
Yeah, so, I try to go on 2 to 3 dates every week.
Okay.
I think last year I went on, maybe I gotta edit this out, 126 dates. Yeah, not
What do you
week, la
what do you
last
think?
last and, when you go on that many dates,
Yeah.
you start to notice some patterns,
Mm.
and, I realized that, like, dating, it comes down to I used to take, I guess, like, rejection really, like, personal growing
Hmm.
up. I never went on, like, many dates, and if I got turned down, like, I'd be like, "Shoot, it was my nose," or it was
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Um, but really, when you just break it down, dating, it just comes down to timing. That's the big one, so just, like, catching people at the right time. So on first dates, one question I really love asking there's actually a saying that, like, the root of unhappiness, it's not money, but expectations being broken.
Mm.
So by asking the question, like, "Why are you single?" upfront, that's not, like, the first question I ask it, like, halfway through.
Sure.
You gotta ease it in there.
Hey, why are you single? Tell me now.
But, some people, they'll be like, "Oh, I just got out of something, like, last week," or maybe I've been single for, like, a year or so, and, when let's say people don't get back to you, they ghost you, whatever, like, my feelings aren't hurt because you just told me that, like, you got out of something, like, 3 weeks ago, a couple
Mm.
months ago. Maybe you went back to the ex or something like that there,
Yeah.
or maybe, you're busy with school, work. What's another one? So, I learned that, like, it comes down to timing and also preferences. Maybe you're not everyone's cup of tea,
Yeah.
maybe, the person you're talking to likes shorter people, maybe some of a dad bod, maybe muscles,
Yeah.
like everyone got their preferences.
Hmm.
And if you really if you go on a date and you really listen to your date and ask a good question, you realize that like, oh shoot, like I'm their type.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so I was really able to learn that dating it comes down to timing, preferences, and also it's really important to be a really good listener.
Mhm.
If you listen to people and just ask the right questions, you can learn a lot about, them and also yourself. I guess, like, what you like and don't like in a partner, so, yeah, that's kinda what I discovered
Absolutely.
from, like, just, like, dating
Wow.
out here, so
I love that. I love that a lot. I think it's very I love how I never actually thought about that until you just said it is I don't want to like butcher what you just said. Go back like 5 minutes and look at what he like listen to what he just said. But I think it was something around being like the reason for unhappiness or like any negative emotions between people trying to date each other is usually never money or all these
Mhm,
materialistic things, but it's expectations
mhm,
being broke and expectation not being met. And I love that idea of if you're going to be dating someone, if you're interested in someone, ask the right questions
mhm,
so that your expectations are not higher than they need to be. And
mhm,
I think I love that you just shared that. I wish I knew that as well because I feel like there's a lot of times where you go into something with an expectation of like, yeah, I'm dating this person because they're going to be my girlfriend. Like that's where
mhm,
I'm going. And so and you never really slow down to check, like, do they even want to be someone's girlfriend? Like, is that what they're looking for?
mhm.
And so, I enjoyed that a lot, actually. That was something that I really enjoyed that you just said. Um, and so then in this like atmosphere where we have you, your company, and your professional pursuits. You've got your personal life,
Mhm.
your friends, your dates, whatever you're doing, your family. How is Dejan? How are you finding balance? You're 23. Like so many people are older than like so many people are older, further in their life.
Mhm.
But for the listeners and the viewers, what are you telling them is the best way to balance professional and personal life?
So the first thing you need to do is you need to have like a North Star point to. So you know, like your goals, maybe it's like 3 to 5 year goals. I just do yearly goals right now because like if I set 3 to 5 year goals, it's gonna change up dramatically. So I just focus on the year, you know.
Yeah.
I don't go that far out. But once that's defined, um, obviously you have like your monthly and your weekly goals, and you're kind of like doing that. So let's say I'm following the plan, right? And then I get burned out halfway through, which is actually really common. Um, One thing I like doing is I like cutting the fat, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I look at everything that I'm doing and I ask myself, okay, what can I get rid of? And sometimes it's really hard, just like getting rid of stuff. You know?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And sometimes getting rid of things, it could be like for example, I used to have my own like podcast
Okay.
as
Yeah.
well, you know, even like writing for entrepreneur. Those are like real like just like really like high level things,
Yeah.
but in relation to like my business goals, you
Hmm.
know, like that task wasn't the highest priority. It was probably like priority like 3 or 4, you know. And I had to compromise, just like get rid of it. I had to be like, all right, like in order for me to reach my goal, I have to sacrifice something, or my goal is going to become the sacrifice.
Ooh,
So just like lots of yeah,
that
just like
was
just like
profound.
removing things.
Can I just say that was profound? I'm sitting here like, whoa, brain blown right there. Okay.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
that's probably my favorite tactic to do. And then okay, so I get rid of some stuff, and the stuff I do focus on, things I like focusing on things that have like the highest output. What's the best way? Okay, all right. So one reason why I really love YouTube over all other social media platforms, um, let's say you make content on TikTok. You know, you make the video, let's say you make one video and you post it, it may get some reach, but after like a week or so, flatline. But
Mm,
YouTube, you can post a video today and it'll be like let's just say like flatline. If you have an audience already, like sure, like it'll get some views and then
yeah.
it'll kind of like flatline for a couple of months. But around like month 3, 4, 5, 6 or beyond, it could it could get 1 million views overnight, you know,
Yeah.
and you kind of have like the input of one, output of 100.
Yeah.
So identifying those tasks and doubling down on that and getting rid of like the stuff that's like, um, TikTok may be cool. Like TikTok is good, but in that example, you
Yeah.
want to get rid of TikTok and maybe double down on YouTube
Yeah.
till you get that to a certain point and then come back and focus. So just like focusing on those super high level tasks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. Um, and so with that, we're gonna transition over to the end of the show where we here do something that is very special to Open Dialogue Podcast.
Okay.
We call it the open question or
Mm.
questions. Today, it's one question. What
All
we do is
right.
we ask our viewers, our listeners, to send in questions that they would like to see featured on the show, or they like me to ask the guest. I am also subject to answer the same question. The question today is coming from someone who wants to stay anonymous, so we won't name their
Mm.
name, but they asked, do you have any regrets?
Any
It's like a deep
regrets?
question, man. Like,
Regrets. Hmm. So it's funny because okay, maybe let's say I make a bad decision. I guess going back to the Instagram post, 'cause when I did have those regrets, I learned how to take that bad experience and spin it into a story, spin it into content to where I'm shoot, at least getting paid for my misery.
mm,
It's
yeah,
it's 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 funny. People would be like, "Oh, what's your book about?" And I'll jokingly say, "Oh, it's that's my journal. I just turned it into a book. I got to get paid for my things." You know?
yeah,
So man, the regret question,
yeah,
that's really hard, you know, is because like I have regrets, but I spun all of them to where like we
yeah,
up now.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I think for me, I would say my regret is pretty. I feel like lately I've not had any regrets, but before
Mm,
growing up, I think when I moved here, I did a lot of things to please other people. I think I was a
mm,
people pleaser. I regret like people are great, and I'm not speaking bad on anyone from my past, but I do regret doing certain things or hanging around certain people because I think it held me back from accomplishing certain things that I could have accomplished sooner. And so, I think that's how I would answer that question. That's a great question. Um,
I gotta
yeah.
I gotta answer now.
Yes,
It
please
took me
do.
a second. So the whole reason behind me making that Instagram page from scratch was because besides my videos on YouTube, I love how I just keep going back to YouTube.
YouTube, we love you.
It's like the base. After I graduated high school, I wanted to make like a little like scrapbook just of like my childhood, and let's just say I went from 0 to 14 to 18. No, not, no, I'm sorry, 0 to 14, and then I jumped from 14 to 18 years old.
Oh, wow,
Long story
yeah.
short, I didn't take any pictures of myself during high school. I just,
No.
hey, I'm good looking, but I didn't
You
like,
just didn't take
I,
pictures.
yeah, I never really took pictures, you know? So I was like, shoot, like I need to start like taking pictures of myself, like really like documenting my journey. So that was like one regret I had. Um, just throughout my teenage years, and I flipped that regret by now on Instagram, like I take like a new picture of myself every week and post it on there,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like a little timestamp of like what I was going on, what was going on in that period of life.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
that's one big
Okay.
regret I have
Hey,
for
guys,
sure.
take pictures, document. You never know, your future kids, grandkids, they got to know what you were like. Um, but that leads us to the end of the show, and I just want to go ahead and summarize real quick key points that I took from what you said. Things in its due time. We need to make sure that when we're doing things, everything has its own time, and when work is work, work is work. But
Hmm.
you got to give time to play and to socialize. You said something about the impossible actually being possible. Like
Hmm.
it's saying never, you've already lost. You mentioned the motto that you live by, your personal motto that you live by of contrast and knowing when to go. I think those are two things that I think we can all apply in all honesty in our lives. And then two more things you said were happiness is kind of that experience, the gap between your highs and your lows.
Hmm.
It's what you learn in the middle there. And then you also said that when it comes to something like dating or just in real life, expectations being broken is what leads to unhappiness rather than money or these materialistic things. But before I kind of hit the outro, do you have anything else you'd like to share, like to say to them or anything like that?
Just go for it, you know?
Please.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey guys, make sure to check out Dejon's book. It's available. I mean, I got it off of Amazon, but seriously, just go on Dejon Brooks, Bootstrapped. It will pull up everything. Go ahead and go. I will actually have a link in the description where you can purchase that. Check out his stuff. Super motivational person, and I so appreciate you being on the podcast today. I really do.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to Open Dialogue on wherever you listen or watch this podcast. Your participation is crucial and it helps us to connect with viewers and listeners like you. If you want to be featured on our open questions segment at the end of the show, just send your questions to open_dialogue_podcast on Instagram. And look out for our daily stories as well. We're always collecting questions from you. And make sure to follow us on YouTube and Instagram to make sure you get sneak peeks and updates on upcoming guests and stuff like that. Remember, this has been Open Dialogue, a podcast where every voice matters. And until next time, keep the dialogue open.
Let's get it.